G'day, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just going to run through how to set up the electronic vape ignition on this RD400 engine. The original electrics were toasted, so I've had to order a vape one for it, which I've got here. Now I've got the instructions there, so we'll go through that step by step, just on how to set up the rotor placement as to the pickup. So we'll go through that. So what we'll start off with, I'll have to take the head off. Now when I rebuilt this engine, I didn't do the head up tight, so I haven't squashed the head gaskets down, because when it goes into the frame, that's when I'm going to tension the gasket, because I can't hang on to it on the bench, tension it properly. So yeah, we'll get into it, and yeah, we'll take the head off. I've banged it in gear. I'm pretty sure I can just turn it over by the front sprocket to get our rotation. If not, I might have to take the clutch cover off on that side and yeah, turn it over from the end of the crank there. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, like it, share it with everyone. Anyway, we'll get stuck into it. We'll get this head off, and we'll see what we're looking at. So we're going to need to put a dial indicator on the top of one of these cylinders, so to stop the other cylinder from lifting when I'm turning it over. I've got one of these spare single heads, so I'll knock that one on there just to hold that cylinder down, and I think we'll just, hopefully the bolts will just sit in there so I can hold this cylinder down, so we put the dial indicator on there. But anyway, we'll just chuck this on. Okay, so I've got the stator here. Now when you remove your old stator, there is a locating pin down the bottom here. You need to remove that, so the base plate of the electrics can bolt on there flush. So you remove the pin, remove all your electrics and everything out of the way, and bolt the electrics on. So we'll go ahead and do that. I've found some plastic bushes there out of a lawnmower wheel, which I had in my surplus stocks, to go under the bolts to hold the cylinder down. You don't want the cylinder to move. I've got my dial indicator set up there. She's all cable tied on, because of course everything's aluminium and this is a magnetized block. So anyway, that's my setup. Generally you would probably have the cylinder head still bolted on and have one of them fancy jobs that bolts in down the spark plug hole, but I don't have one of those, so make do with what you got. Because we're doing it on the bench, it's a lot easier. When I did my first video from the RD, you see I had all this cable tied to the frame, so, and I just had a Allen key cut off, shoved down the hole. So you know, just make do with what you got. So we'll go ahead, we'll bolt the electrics on. I've sort of just been farting around with it. Now I've pretty well got it on top dead center, because this is the old stator, or the old flywheel, and you can see the pickup lugs on it there, and it has a F mark on it there, firing. And I sort of just chucked it on, worked out sort of where the keyway is, which is under there, and the F mark is facing up towards the top, so that would be top dead center. You wouldn't have the F mark facing down the bottom. So it obviously lines up with something in there when the other stator plate and everything is in there, the original one, which I don't have. I don't have a manual. I'm just assuming. I reckon I'm pretty right. So you'd have the F mark facing upwards. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go by that. And I've got the new flywheel here. There's a little bit of size difference there, and weight. That's very heavy compared to that one. Nice little flywheel. So we'll go ahead and we'll bolt the electrics in, and then we'll start trying to time it. Okay, we'll bolt this in. This pickup's got to go down towards the bottom here in this little section. We'll poke these wires up through here. .400 kilometres of wires. I don't know why you need a loom this long, but anyway, we'll deal with that when it gets in the bike. And pretty sure, I think we'll, I don't know whether that will tuck in behind that. I don't want to squash them, but I think it will. It's still loose, it's not squashing it. Yeah, so that's still got a bit of movement there, so it hasn't squashed the wires. That's where they need to go. It doesn't say in the instructions. Yep. Just tuck all them in. Make sure they're tight. Right. So that's on. I'm just going to dummy fit this for a second. Just want to make sure the spacing of this pickup is not going to interfere with the where the pickup rotates past there, because if you damage that, we're in all sorts of trouble. Yeah. It looks like it's sort of preset, but we will adjust it. There is a adjustment in here. In the instructions, it's telling me, so 0.4 to 0.5 air gap between the pickup and the pickup ramps on the flywheel. So we will adjust that to make sure that that is right. So the air gap is right. We'll just leave it at that for the time being. Okay, so we've got the stator all bolted on. We've got this on top dead center. I've just got the dial indicator set on there. Now I've just been sort of rolling it backwards and forwards, and I've got it to sit on 10. So we'll use that as 0. I don't want to touch it because it's quite sensitive. Is we need to put it 2 millimeters before top dead center. So we need to spin it backwards. Now keep in mind that these engines turn anti-clockwise to run forwards. So we've got to go clockwise to go backwards. So one rotation of this dial indicator is 1 mil. So there's 1 mil. That's 2. So that's 2 millimeters before top dead center. Now, with the rotor, so on the instructions there, you have the pickup. So the edge of the pickup has to sit 1 degree onto this ramp. Now I've just scribed a line on there, which is about 1 millimeter. Looking at the picture there, I don't have a degree wheel, so we can't do the old degrees setting there, but going by the picture, it looks like it's just about 1 millimeter onto that ramp. So we'll sit the rotor on and get it so it's just coming on, and I'll set the camera up down there and we can have a look. Now, I'm hoping you guys can see it. I probably can't. I'll try and... So, can you see the scribed line? And then you can see like the ramp right there is like just like it's 1 millimeter coming on. That's where it has to be. So now we've got to lock the flywheel up, and that's where it has to be, because we're 2 mil before top dead center there, and we're 1 mil over the ramp there on the pickup. So that's where we need to be. So we'll just sort of run through it again. So with the engine, they turn anti-clockwise when they're running. So you have to turn it clockwise, 2 mil. First get your piston up on top dead center, and then turn it clockwise 2 millimeters. So the dial indicator goes around twice, because it's a metric one. So that's dropped 2 millimeters. So that's 2 millimeters before top dead center. You align the ramp of this stator. You can see my scribed line there, and which is about 1 millimeter over the ramp. So that ramp, the very start of the pickup, so this pickup here has to be 1 millimeter onto the ramp. So we'll lock the flywheel up if we can, and we'll see how we go, and then we'll recheck it all. So we'll put the nut on here and we'll lock it up, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, I've just got this nipped up, just enough to hold the flywheel on the taper of the crankshaft. You can see that that is just, is on my scribe mark there. It's about 1 millimeter onto that ramp. So the pickup is on that ramp there. So we'll turn it back to where we need to be, top dead center. Right, you can see that that's where it's just rocking on top dead center. So it's about 0.3 over the 0 there, so we'll call that top dead center there. Now we need to go before top dead center, so we're going to turn it clockwise, and we'll go 2 mil. 1, 2, It's about 3 past it. See that? Just coming onto the ramp, about 1 millimetre. So that's spot on. Now I nip this up with the rattle gun, so hopefully it won't come undone. But anyway, that is about it. That's all set up and ready to go. So there's only one other thing I have to do. So Vape don't supply you with the extra wire to come down to go to your neutral switch. So you're going to have to run a separate wire in there. So next step, put the head on. Get the motor out of that. And put the big one in. That's only a little 350. We'll get that one out. We'll put the big 430 in. So this one is the one that I did the other video on. Now this one's already got a vape ignition in it, but it's for the 350/250 setup. So I ran a neutral wire in through the loom down on this one. So I might run just an external one on the other one. Just, yeah, so we'll get that engine out, get the other one in, but that will be another day. So anyway, thanks for watching, as always, much appreciated. Yeah, I hope this helped us out. Anyone that's putting vape ignitions on these RDs, very simple to set up. They're a good ignition system, so I haven't had any troubles with this one here, and it's you know, I haven't keyed the flywheel. It's just on there tight. It's never slipped. A few people saying that they're having a few issues, but I haven't had any issues with mine, so I think if you just do them up correctly, you should be pretty right. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.